Pop Culture Yearbook. On this show, we pick pieces of pop culture that were important to us in a given year. We then discuss memories and dig into those movies, albums, shows, and more. I'm Brad.
I'm Pete.
And I'm GIF.
Pete
All right,
can't control
anyway.
himself.
No, I'm not.
All right, we're wrapping up our season 2 here tonight.
End of year special Eddie.
So
Coming right up.
God. So we take these newest years and we just lump them all into one. So we're gonna wrap it up by looking back at 2022, a year that was kind of a normal year.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, kind of things got
compared
back
to the
on
last
track.
couple.
Yep. I would totally agree with that assessment, Mr.
That
Sorensen.
was-
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's right.
You better.
The only thing abnormal about it was its normalcy.
Oh.
All right, then. That's
Think
deep.
about that.
So
That's
we're going
deep.
to
That
talk
is
about our favorite movies, music, and TV of the year.
Awesome.
And what order should we go in? We didn't discuss that ahead of time like we often do.
Well,
don't
let's
care.
see here. Why don't we start with let's go TV.
Music.
TV
And then
was
we'll-
said first.
And then we'll go music, and then we'll finish up with the hot movies of the year. How's that sound?
Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Well, since you picked it, Giff, you want to tell us what you were watching this year? What were your top fives?
My top 5 for the year, and I'm going to start out with a few other ones that I also enjoyed. So right at the end of the year, Letterkenny came out with a fresh season. So that
Yeah.
was about 6 episodes of pure joy for me. Also, Welcome to Wrexham was a kind of documentary style show where Ryan Reynolds and McElhaney bought a lower level soccer club over in Wales.
What is that on?
That was on Hulu. I believe it's still on Hulu. Yeah.
I believe I've heard of that one.
So that was kind of fun. It kind of was equal parts following those two around and everything that they're going through with purchasing this team and getting to understand soccer culture or football culture. Sorry, and then also the other half was concentrated on the town of Wrexham, which was really a nice human interest piece. So that was a lot of fun. And then I think the only other thing I have in here for an honorable mention was the HBO series Winning Time, which
I
covered.
forgot about that show. I didn't really like it though.
I included it. I enjoyed the basketball parts of it. It was
Yes.
a little slow, but
There were lots of slow parts.
Yeah, it covered the rise of the Lakers in the '80s to their dynasty after Dr. Buss bought the team.
It was the kind of show that seemed like where the sum of the whole just didn't add up. It seemed like it should be great. The characters, the people that they like, the actors were all great.
John C. Reilly was great
Yeah.
as Dr. Buss. Yeah.
But it's just watching it, like by the end I was just slogging through it. Like I like the basketball parts, but so much of it was just like, move on, please.
Yeah, a little bit. So my top 5, Better Call Saul finished up their run this year. That was a lot of fun. I like the way that they wrapped that up.
Don't say anything.
I won't say anything. I know some people might have not finished that yet. My number 4, The After Party, was a fun little whodunit mystery, murder mystery. Tiffany Haddish was in that, along with your favorite Jean Ralphio.
Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head who else were a lot of the other characters. But it was a fun little thing. It basically a group of friends get together for a high school reunion, and one of them is killed at the after party at his house after the union, and it's a fun way they did each episode that was it concentrated on a particular character for that episode. So it was an interesting way they did it, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely a comedy, not a heavier show. My number 3 was Stranger Things. I thought that this season was a bit of a bounce back for me. I wasn't crazy about the third season.
I'm with you there too.
Yeah.
I was
But
really
See,
wishing
I
it was
watched
the
the
final
first
season, though.
episode and I didn't think it was as good. And I guess
Mhm.
I got carried away on other things. But are you saying it's worth sticking with it? And
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
wow,
the
okay.
If
the evil character in this one I think is a little bit more compelling as well. So I enjoyed that portion of it, and then the fact that I don't think I'm really giving too much away here. The fact that your main characters aren't all together, and it's kind of a journey of them coming together by the final episode was kind of a fun part to it as well.
the only disappointment for me was that I had thought it was the final season, and so I'm watching it like, okay, great.
Oh,
I'll be done after this. That's great. And
yeah,
then I put in all that time and I watch it, and then it's like, oh, they're not done yet. Which I don't need another season. I was happy to be done right there, and oh well.
sure. Well, and it's kind of the end of the season is kind of like a Empire Strikes Back type ending where everything's not quite wrapped up nice and cute how they had in the previous seasons. So that's a lot of fun as well. So I would recommend that if I mean Stranger Things is huge. I'm sure a lot of people watched it, but for those who haven't, definitely worth your time. I thought it was a step up from the season before. My number 2 was Severance. Very interesting show. Adam Scott is the main character in that. But there's a lot of great characters. John Turturro is in it, Christopher Walken, Patricia Arquette. And it's just a real interesting concept. The concept is that when you go to work, they have an implant in your brain and you don't know anything about your personal life while you're at work, and you have no idea about your work life when you're in your personal space. So
What if
the
you work from
separation.
home?
Yeah, that'd be tough. That'd be kind of tough. Right. I compare it a little bit to Lost because there's a lot of stuff going on with that work environment that you don't quite understand. It's very secretive. And you're not really sure what's going on. So that's a real fun one.
Yeah, that one's on my list. I just
This
haven't got
is-
around to it.
It's Apple TV, right? It's on
Yep.
Apple TV.
That's on Apple TV. And that was one where I was getting close to giving up because it's a real slow burn. But those last few, probably 3 or 4 episodes of the season just really start kicking it up. And that was a lot of fun. And then my number 1, Only Murders in the Building.
Oh my God, I forgot about that show.
Oh, really?
Okay, I got to update my list.
That I thought the second season there was not a sophomore slump. A lot of fun. To me, Martin Short is the highlight for me in that show.
Oh yeah.
Steve Martin. What are you going to say bad about Steve Martin? But Martin Short, just for me in this season, was a lot of the show, and he's just great in it. So those were my top 5s for 2022.
Heck of a list.
Thank you.
Nice.
All
Want me
right.
to go with mine now?
Why don't you go then?
There's a couple here that I had written down that are definitely not from 2022, but I got into them and I watched the full season on one and nearly the full season on the other. So both we've actually done on this show. So I just want to mention Ted Lasso and How I Met Your Mother that we're working through. The ones that are more current, the next one actually came out late in 2021, if you want to be all technical about it, but I watched it. I watched it in 2022, Squid Game, which I don't know if you guys have seen that at all.
Nope.
I have not watched Squid Game.
It's good. It's intriguing. It is definitely gruesome in parts. It looks like a kid's show, but it's not a kid's show. It is good.
Not a kid's show.
No. But I thought it was really good, and it was like one that is just gripping, and you just like when you turn it on, you hang on the edge of your seat you could watch the whole series, and then you can't wait for the next episode to see what's going to happen. And it starts out like every episode is a different game that they're playing, and it's a lot of death if you don't win the game. They're like little child's games.
Right.
But if you don't win, or if you screw up, boom, you're dead on the spot.
Right.
But then the concept is that the winner gets, I think it's in South Korean dollars or whatever their currency is, but it equates to like 32 billion or something like that, like a really, really huge amount.
Good Lord.
And the way that the tension just builds and builds as the show goes is really good. So I would recommend it. Just be aware of what you're getting yourself into when you watch it. The next one on my list is one that I got into because it's one of my daughter's favorite shows, Wednesday. It's have you seen that? Have you guys seen that one at all yet?
I've seen a lot of memes online about Wednesday.
Yeah, it's like super popular right now. And
sure.
It is good. It's not that many episodes. I think it's 8 episodes, and so it doesn't take you that long to get through it. It's really good. It's obviously based on the Addams Family, but it's based on the character Wednesday, and it is really dark and it is pretty deep, and it's well done. The music is fantastic. There's a big scene where she's playing the cello, and it's painted black by the Rolling Stones, and it was just the way it was done. It was just beautifully done, and fits into the story really well. And good show.
I've seen the dance scene about 10 million times thanks to TikTok.
Yeah, and that's not even that much of a highlight of the show, but it is.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of cool, but it's not as important to the show itself. But it is cool. The next one I had was Murderville, which you guys and I have texted each other ad nauseum about that one. It's just hilarious. It's an original concept. How they bring some sort of a special guest into the set and don't even tell them what the script is or anything, and they just have to kind of play along with it. And I love like improv comedy, and so and it's really done. And it's his name escapes me. What's his name?
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett. He is just perfect for that role, and he's pretty much the same kind of personality as he is in Arrested Development. And so he's got that big, over the top, comedic, personality that is just hilarious. He cannot be on the screen at all without you just laughing. So great show. And then my number one, I had Only Murders in the Building, which you've already mentioned.
Oh, I can't believe you guys. I didn't have that. It's so crazy.
I just went through, the services that we have, and
I went through Netflix, and I found where you could find your history, and that helped me. But I didn't remember what I watched on Hulu. It just totally escaped me. But anyway, I'm glad I went last.
There you go.
All right, so I watched just about the whole series of Veep this year on HBO. I did not finish it though because I loved it for 5 seasons.
Sure.
And I got into the 6th, and I just gave up. I couldn't take it anymore. So I loved it, but then I also quit.
Okay.
But it took up a good chunk. I got Stranger Things on my honorable mention area because I like it. Pete, I'm really surprised you didn't mention Cobra Kai.
Oh God, that's an oversight.
Yes,
I actually thought about that the other day, and I didn't write it down, and then I forgot about it when I was making my list.
So I've got that as an honorable mention because I still like that show a lot, but it's not going to be like in my top. I mean, there's better shows, but it's fun. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I have SNL on here because I still watch it every week, and I just think a bunch of these people in this new cast are great. It entertains me.
Somebody told me a rumor the other day. Is that show getting canceled like after next season?
SNL,
something like that. Yeah.
After totally 50 years.
I don't think that's so. What somebody I was talking to said that's what they heard, but I didn't think so either. But
Dana Carvey and David Spade on their podcast have referred to like the upcoming 50th anniversary like a million times, and that won't be for 3 years still. Oh, so unless they are just assuming and have no knowledge of anything, I mean, they're not planning on it going anywhere.
All right.
I don't know. It seems weird. Okay, then I've got 2 more that were tied for number 5, but now they've been kind of pushed into, I guess, limbo mode here, which fitting for one, because one we just watched on our trip to California. We watched the whole first 2 seasons. So we watched it in this year, but it is from last year, and that is The White Lotus. And that is a fabulously entertaining show.
Courtney's a big fan of that one.
It's hard to even explain what it is because, like, we're watching the first season, and I'm looking at my wife and I go, I really like this. I like watching all these characters, but like, what is the show about? It's just a bunch of people at a hotel, and it's like you don't really know what's going on, and it's not really too much of a mystery, although there is a death, but it's not like the main focus. But it sucks you in.
Nothing like Seinfeld.
It's great. And then the other one that I had here was on Apple TV, and that is called Bad Sisters. And I just watched that over like a weekend too at the end of the year. And that's got, did either of you watch the show Catastrophe on Amazon?
Yes. I haven't watched we watched the first 2 or 3 seasons, but I hadn't gotten back into it.
All right. Oh God, I love that show. But the main woman, Sharon Horgan, she is in this show, and it's about these 5 sisters in Ireland, and one of them is married to, like, I'm not kidding, he is like the worst villain. Oh God, he is just hateful. But he dies in the first episode, and the whole series is like figuring out if they did it to him or how it happened, and it's just really good.
Okay.
All right, number 5, I have Yellowstone. Nobody mentioned that one yet.
I haven't gotten into the latest season. I'm waiting until it's done.
It's up and down. That's another show. It's like every episode has like this music video in it, and it's like it's just not necessary. Where it's just like showing ranchers and stuff to some country song.
That's some of my favorite stuff in Yellowstone.
Well, it's beautiful, but it's just like every episode, it just really it gets slow. But it's still a good show. Number 4, I have Murderville, which we discovered earlier in the year, and then I would have forgotten all about it, but because of the Who Killed Santa at the end of the year, brought it back, and that was great. Nobody said Ozark, which finished its run.
Yeah, I could. Ozark was too heavy for me. I couldn't watch it over.
It was so good, and this last season, it was great. That's a show that we just got sucked into.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I have Better Call Saul because my wife and I watched almost the entire series this year. We got through all 5 seasons, and then we can't watch season 6. We're just in limbo waiting because it's not available even to buy. I take that back. I think you can buy it, but like
sure.
Like I can't. You'd think you go on AMC Plus. You'd think you could take a month and watch it.
Yep.
When I went on there, it's only seasons 1 through 4. I'm like, what the hell?
Really?
So even season 5 isn't on there.
That's weird.
And then thanks to you guys, my number 1 is Only Murders in the Building because that show is so good. And I heard a few people with season 2 weren't sure at first, but I thought it might have upped it. I thought it was so awesome.
Yeah, I heard some negative things about season 2 as well, but I thought it was a lot of fun again.
It was great.
Yeah.
I think it was better.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know if I would say it was better, but there wasn't. It's
At
like
least
a
good,
1.
though.
It's a 1 and a 1A. Like they're both very, very good in my opinion.
So I'll be looking forward to that. And then we couldn't say Ted Lasso because we went a whole year without a season. It's like, come on,
Ted
guys.
Lasso, right? Yeah.
When is it coming out?
I don't know. I heard early this year at one point, but you'd think there'd be a date by now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're moving on to music then, right?
Yeah.
Or audio.
We're gonna go audio.
We'll let Gifford go last on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go
last.
on it because I don't have because I don't think I listened to a single song from 2022 all year. I listen to music.
Well, I've got
all the time, but it's never anything current. It's all old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though that I did enjoy. Some people didn't. It's controversial. I did enjoy the Super Bowl halftime show, which was the hip hop one with I think it was Eminem and was it Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, and a few others. Is the whole LA thing. I enjoyed it. What?
Yeah.
Don't you remember they had the white stage?
Yep.
And
it was a long stage.
Yeah.
Long white stage.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
The one thing I was thinking about, though, is that if you were sitting on the one half of the stadium, you would not be able to see what's going on because half of it you got to picture like a trailer, like a semi-truck trailer that's open on one side is kind of what it was.
I do remember that.
And then they had like a bunch of little rooms in it.
They've got that big scoreboard up above. That's where they watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but but it's
You
like
wanna
if you're
see
I know
there,
you're there.
Yeah.
you want to
You wanna
see
see
see them in person.
Yep.
So otherwise, it's just like you're watching the TV at home. It's
Sure.
not what you're there for. But
A really
Um,
big TV
a really big TV. That's right,
in a
Brad.
really big house.
Yeah, with
That
a
makes
lot of
all the
company over.
difference.
And
You
a
got a
lot
lot
of
of company
activity
over.
taking place in front of the TV.
Nice big yard,
Yeah.
Uh,
Well groomed. Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So with that, I don't have anything else to really add, even for music of 2022 specifically. So other than the stuff that we've done on this podcast, which did we do anything from 2022? What about that Taylor Swift album? Was that from 21?
No,
I
that
just
was
saw that.
2020.
Yeah, that was
2020.
2020.
Oh, that's
Yep.
right. That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, she had
Anyway,
one.
so I'm just going to turn it on over to Brad then.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, so here's what I listened to this year. And so I'm always looking for new music. And it's a good thing you guys used to listen to music, or we'd have a big gap in our show on those episodes. So I put down the Chris Isaac had a new Christmas album this year. So he put one out in like 2004 or 5, which was one of my favorites. And now he added a new one this year. So that was great to end the
Really?
year with a new Christmas album. And another artist who I like a lot had a new album, Alice Merton. Do you guys remember the song No Roots from like a year or two ago? I bet you'd recognize it because it was
I'd
one of
probably
those
I'd
hits.
probably recognize it.
She has a lot of good songs that I like. And then this one came out in 2022, but I just kind of discovered it, and I've been listening to the shit out of this album for the last like week. I am completely and utterly obsessed with the band Wet Leg. It is two girls from England, and it is the coolest music. It is like rock and unique and fun, and maybe you'd like it.
Mhm.
But I didn't listen to it in 2022, so I left it in my honorable mentions, but maybe I'll have to mention it again next year. So they're new, and they were like one of these buzz bands that other people have like. They just popped up one day on I was listening to something on my music service, and when it ended, they started playing other stuff.
Mhm.
And this one song just was like, holy crap, that's a great song. And from there, I went on and found the rest of their first album, and it's great.
Sure.
So that's Wet Leg.
Wet Leg.
My top 5, we have discussed on this show, Pete and I, The Head and the Heart. They had a new album this year called Every Shade of Blue. It's not my favorite album of theirs, but it's still good. I listened to it a lot, and I got to go see them in concert again. So that was a good one. A couple of these I mentioned last week on our concert, or when I mentioned concerts. So number 4, I have Biba Doobie, the one that I said my
Kazoo night.
Isaac and I went to.
Mhm.
And she is just this also fun, awesome artist. She's like Thai, but from England. So she's like this really interesting mix of like cultures.
Mhm.
But it's great like rock music. My next 2 are big ones that everybody would know of. So at number 3, I love the Harry Styles album, Harry's House. He is better than you'd probably think if you just think of One Direction. He is awesome. My whole family loves him. Then at number 2, I have Taylor Swift, Midnights. I mentioned last week we got tickets to go see her, and that album did not disappoint. I love pretty much everything on it. And at number 1, I've mentioned many times before this artist named Ash, who I love
Yep.
and my family loves and my daughter loves. And she put out a new album this year, which was fantastic from beginning to end. So those are my top 5. And I was lucky to find a lot of good new stuff this year. Very excited about it.
Well, that is awesome. I'm
And
with
Gifford
Pete.
doesn't listen to music, period. So
Yeah, I'm with Pete. I don't listen to any new music, but what I do fill my ears with is a lot of sports talk radio and a lot of podcasts. So now remember, I'm going to give you some stuff that are podcasts. That doesn't mean you stop listening to ours. You keep coming back for great suggestions of what to listen to. So keep coming back to us to find good stuff and to hear good stuff. So I'm going to just go with one honorable mention. This new podcast that started this hockey season called Wild on 7th. It covers the Wild. It's a weekly podcast. It's a lot of fun. They have on players from the team. They'll have on the coach or the general manager. One of the guys is the color man for the games, and the other guy, the other co-host, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the all hockey hair team that's put together at the end.
Oh yeah.
Actually, the guy that does that is good friends with one of my coworkers, who's a friend of mine, and he's made a lot of videos with him.
John King.
He's actually TikTok famous. He's a Burnsville High School teacher, and he has like 1 million followers on TikTok. And he actually did I'm talking about my coworker now.
Yep.
He actually did a commercial for, I can't remember which pizza place, with PJ Fleck, and it was because of this John King guy, I think, who filmed it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got that whole connection with that guy.
Yeah. That's
I love
really
that
cool.
guy. That's the one thing I look forward to the most about, I'm not a big hockey guy. I do pay attention to what's going on, especially when Maple Grove is in it. But,
hockey guy.
But afterwards, I do look forward to that
Sunday morning.
that
You always
segment
look
that he
for it
does.
Sunday morning after the tournament's over. He puts it out pretty quickly.
Not
And
that strong a swimmer.
but for those, that's a wonderful thing to look up on YouTube. Look up All Hockey Hair Team. I don't remember how many years it goes back, but the guy who does it is on this podcast. He does a great job. Very funny little comments for each team, or for the kids that are on it. So I highly recommend checking out his YouTubes on that. My number 5, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, and he has on regular people in different walks of life, but then he also has on a lot of celebrities as guests, and it's just a really funny podcast. If you want a really good flavor of it, I recommend going back and listening to the October 23rd episode from this year, Kevin Nealon Returns. I was crying listening to that episode. I was laughing so hard. The two of them together was so good. So that's a really good one. One I know Brad listens to quite a bit, Fly on the Wall with David Spade and Dana Carvey. A lot of SNL people that come on and they talk.
They've gotten better. Remember how there were some episodes that were almost unlistenable at first because they just talked and talked over the guest and but it's gotten better. Like I think they've
find your
heard
voice
themselves or taken the hint, and it's a little more informative yet still entertaining now.
Correct. Yes, I would completely agree with that. My number 3 is the Juggernaut Smart List. For anybody who doesn't know about Smart List, you must be under a rock. Excellent podcast with Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett. I almost like.
We should call ours Smart List Light.
Yeah.
Because it's we're 3 funny guys. We're just as good as they are.
That's right.
No, you would be the Jason Bateman of the group for sure, Brad.
I'll take that. Yeah, and you're the Will Arnett, and Pete's Sean Hayes.
Okay, I didn't know which one Pete and I were, but you're the Bateman for sure. That is a good, I think. But I like honestly enjoy a lot of the banter between them before and after their guests come on, because they can really rip on each other, and them going back and forth is a lot of fun. But their guests are great as well. My number 2 and my last podcast on here is Missing Curfew. It is a NHL-based podcast with 2 ex-NHLers, Shane O'Brien and Scotty Upshall. It's a lot of the whole point, the name of the podcast, Missing Curfew. They talk about the things that they did to miss curfew while they were in the league. So a lot of good stories from the locker room or out on the road, and it might be a little rougher of a podcast, but I find it very funny. And they cover just a bunch of stuff throughout the season, weekly stuff that happens in the NHL. So I really like that one. And my number 1 is the morning show I listen to every day, the Power Trip Morning Show, the place where I stole our initials game from that we played a couple times on here. I think they do a great job, and it's something to look forward to.
You didn't steal it, you reinterpreted it.
I reinterpreted it. Yes, that's correct. It's not a bold face.
Reimagined.
Yeah, it's not a word for word a ripoff, but that's just a great way to wake up during the week. it's not always fun to get up and have to go to work in the morning, but those guys do a nice job of putting me in a good mood to start the day. So,
All right. I think it's my turn to go first for movies then.
hit it.
All right. So I saw a lot of movies this year
Mhm.
in the theater and at home, and I only listed 6. I didn't want to go overboard, but like I said, it was like a normal year, and I got back into watching a ton of movies, and it was great. And part of that is because Isaac works at the movie theater here,
Mhm.
and so that was a really cool way to get into some free movies and get some discounts and just go because they're there. So we, like on Christmas, Isaac was working, and we all went to a movie that night because that way it felt like we were a little more closer together then.
Nice.
Nice.
I do have one, I guess you can call it honorable mention because it's my number 6, but I have the Batman on here.
Oh yeah.
I
Is
I
that
really
good?
did like that movie. Yep. Pete,
Huh.
what you would love so the music, the score is way cool, and they play the song "Something in the Way" by Nirvana like multiple times. This really like deep, slow. It's really fitting. It's really cool, and that really adds to it.
Well,
Oh,
and
Um,
two things I liked about it was every time there's a new Batman movie, I like how they do it, how they imagine it, and in this one, it's a little bit more like the television show in that Batman like kind of works with the police force a little bit more. Like there's a crime scene and he actually walks
Oh,
into the
there's some
crime
great
scene,
scenes. Yeah, that's
you know,
hilarious.
and that's kind of a different
they
imagining
also
of
have
it.
the words "pow" and "boom" that shoot up on the screen. You wouldn't expect
Yep.
it, but
Mhm.
it
You got
happens.
Burt Ward, Adam West.
Yeah.
That's
Actually, it doesn't.
So that the one thing I'll say about that movie is I thought that Pattinson was a better Batman than a Bruce Wayne. I wasn't really
Interesting.
buying him as a Bruce Wayne, but I thought his
It's been a
Batman
long time
character
now
was
since I've
excellent.
watched it. I
Mhm.
feel like but I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, just because it's 3 hours and everything. But I
it
do
just
know
seems like there's
I
too
sat
many
through in the
Batmans.
theater and was not bored. Like it
Mhm.
was good. It was very good.
Well, and the other thing I really thought that was interesting about it, and it wasn't necessarily the movie itself, but I watched it on, I think it came out on HBO,
Yeah,
and they
it
had a
did.
bunch of little extras in there, and the way the movie was made was extremely interesting because their soundstage was basically like a massive LED screen. So like when you see a cityscape, they're standing in front of screens that show the city behind them. It's just really an interesting way. It's not blue screen or green screen. It was, and it was like could be wrapped all the way around them for these scenes where they're on the streets and they're going through, but they're not actually on a street. That's the screens running past. It was really a cool way that they produced that movie. And if you like the movie magic side of things, it's an interesting watch on HBO. Some of those extras.
I think you said a lot more than one thing about that movie, but
Okay.
You
Fair
said
enough.
the one thing I'll say is, and you said
Oh,
like
sure.
6.
Well, it was like one of your top fives.
Uh-huh. All right, number 5, I had this was just a fun movie. I don't know if either of you watched this one. Gifford, you might have. The Nicolas Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, where he
I
plays
haven't.
himself. It is.
Oh, I
just
want to see
fun.
that. I saw
I've
the
heard
preview.
so
I thought it looked fun.
so
It
many
is.
good things about that movie, and I have not
So
watched it.
go ahead and watch that. Number 4, or kind of along with it, I guess these are all kind of similar, but I have the new Scream movie. I really enjoyed that. Me and Isaac like to go watch horror movies, and especially I like the comedy horror movies more, but
Mhm.
that was a really good one. On Christmas, we saw The Fablemans, the Steven
Oh.
Spielberg kind of biopic
Yep.
type movie, and I loved it. Like these top 3, I loved all 3, like all the way through. It's fun, it's emotional, it's heavy, but but you just feel good watching it. I loved it. I would highly recommend it. Number 2, I have Elvis. I didn't know if I would love it that much, but I did. I thought was totally entertained beginning to end with that one, and learning a little bit more about his life and kind of how he just really got the raw end of things.
Mhm.
It's kind of sad, especially when the way he died. It's just people have been joking about him my whole life about the old fat Elvis and Elvis dying and everything because he died the year I think what was it 77? I don't know.
70s.
Basically, we
77.
weren't even alive or we were about to be alive.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really know a lot. And when you see kind of what he went through and everything, it's really a lot more sad. And like I don't think the jokes are very funny. I think that he kind of got screwed.
Yep.
And then my number one, did you watch this yet, Gif? I loved the movie The Menu.
I have not seen it yet, and you've told me to watch it.
Speaking of a kind of a horror comedy type movie, it makes fun of foodies, and it just is rips on to the point where like, because I mean I like food, but like people like that are over the top, it's just like, oh my god. And I just loved the characters. I loved the whole thing. It was so inventive and unique, and I had no idea. I'd like not even heard of it until the day before we went to it. I'm like, what is this movie? And then I heard a little bit, and like we went to it, and it shot to the top of my list. I loved it.
Excellent.
And you will too.
I will watch it. Is it on a service yet?
It's on HBO now.
Oh, it is. Okay.
You're the one that said that last week. You said it's coming to HBO, so I'm not going to watch it yet.
Oh, so I must have not made note in my stuff that it's actually out now. Okay, so I will watch that probably this week.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. You or me, Pete?
I'll do it, and you can bring us home then, Gifford.
Okay.
I had one movie that we went to as a family because the whole family is all into Harry Potter, right? We did see the Secrets of Dumbledore movie. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No,
we did see that. Yes.
Beasts. And it was kind of fun, a lot of fun. Not as good as the Harry. They do confuse me a little bit. I get confused easily, as you all know, but I think, but no, it was fun. Can we talk about the Top Gun movie for a little bit?
Oh, here we go.
I have it on my list.
Okay,
but I will say that I was a little bit disappointed by it because I wasn't like, and I thought it was good. It was enjoyable, but I wasn't like, whoa, this is the greatest thing ever. Like everybody else in the entire world seemed to be saying at the time.
And I'm with you. You and me were like a lockstep on that. I wouldn't say I was disappointed, but I enjoyed the movie. But based on the hype that I heard before and after, I'm like, what? It was just a good, fun action movie. That's really all it was to me.
We did watch it again over the holiday break, and
were you blown away?
I wasn't blown away. I thought they stole a lot from Star Wars, is what I thought the first time I saw it, and it was like, the attack. Where you're flying through the trenches, and then you have to hit this little target that's 3 meters wide, or whatever it was. It was almost exactly the same as Star Wars. And so I could not get over that, and I kept thinking that. And even when he's doing the presentation of the plan, it has the like laser screen, or projection, and it's almost exactly the same. And it's like, are you kidding me with this?
I think for season 3, we should change the name of our podcast to "Let's Talk About Top Gun." Can we talk about Top Gun?
Moving on. Jurassic World Dominion. Did you see
I did, and I liked it. I liked it
too. I had to turn it off. I couldn't do it. I was about 15 minutes in, and I'm like, can't do it.
What?
No. What?
Yeah.
What?
Couldn't do it.
What happened that was so bad?
Well, I think I was going off of the one before, and I was already kind of sour on it. And
I'll say that I went into it thinking, I don't know, this will be fine. But I was entertained. It was fine. I liked it.
It was entertained, and I liked the way that they tied the universes together.
But yeah, there was that too.
Right? Yeah, it was Sam Neill
and the way they closed it out, and Jeff Goldblum was in it too.
I just couldn't. I couldn't get to him.
Well, I thought it was fun.
And that's
you and me are on things here.
I have continuously had been thinking, because there's like 87 Avengers movies, and they had kind of jumped the shark. But one that I thought was really good, and my favorite character in the whole thing, is Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness came out this year, and I watched it and I loved it. I don't know what you felt about it, but I thought it was
Didn't
good.
see it.
And
Probably won't
I
ever
like
see
the
it.
way actually, and this is another one that I think actually came out last year, but the Spider-Man, it actually
Spider-Man
came
one?
out late 2021. The Spider-Man one was good too, where Doctor Strange is also in it, and it's got
No
it
Way
ties
Home.
it. Yes, No Way Home, and it
Mhm.
ties all of the Spider-Men together in a funny way. It's like you cannot.
It's an interesting concept, yeah.
Yes, it's a funny concept, and it's meant to be funny,
Yep.
and so you can't be like, there's no way that can
Well,
happen.
and not only all the Phil Spidermans, but also
Yeah.
also the villains. They brought all the
Yes,
villains
all of
back.
the villains, all of the actors came
Yeah.
back.
So that was a fun thing too. The only thing I'll say about that movie
Here we go
was
again. The only thing he's gonna say.
so at the beginning of the beginning of the movie, it was all about we can't do this spell to negate everybody's memory, but in the end, that's what they did anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it was like you just made a. I mean, but that's the point. The middle of it was a lot of fun. You know,
was.
having all of those actors come in from the past. So that was interesting. That was the one thing I had to say about that one.
So I had those two movies kind of tied together
Mhm.
as my number two, and then I had Spirited, which we just watched. Oh, it's a holiday movie, and we watched over the holiday break. I
It wouldn't
loved
make
it.
my list, but I liked it too. It's very good.
I had a lot of fun with it. You see a new side of Will Ferrell that you didn't know before, like a Broadway star, Will Ferrell.
Mhm.
And it was a lot of fun. I
Pete,
was
let me
looking
ask you
forward
this:
to it when I
what was
saw
your
it.
favorite song?
Good Afternoon.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was my favorite song. But
That
I
was the
thought they
best
were
part. It was hilarious and it was catchy, and I loved it.
right. Exactly. Very well done. So there you go. That's my list of movies.
Excellent. That's a very good list.
All right, Giff,
Uh,
close the yearbook on the year.
Okay, well, one of my honorable mentions was a documentary called Hockeyland, and it covered the Hermantown boys hockey team, which is just real close to Duluth, and the last season of the Evelyn Gilbert boys hockey team. It covered their seasons, and that was, for a guy who is up here in northern Minnesota and is familiar with those teams. That was kind of a cool little documentary to watch. So I enjoyed that one. My number 5 is See How They Run. It was kind of a murder mystery with Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan.
Really?
Yeah, and
I like both of them.
Adrian Brody was in it. So just a lot of colorful characters, and again a comedy that I enjoyed. My number 4 came out very recently. The Glass Onion.
Yeah, that's my menu there. I got to go watch that.
The Knives Out continuation. Just a lot of fun. Again, a murder mystery that well acted, and just interesting cast of characters and how they all tie together was fun. My number 3 was Bullet Train with Brad Pitt.
I've been wondering about that. I've seen the previews and stuff like that. Is that pretty good?
It is
What's its number 3?
It is kind of a stylish, fast-paced, quick dialogue, funny action movie. Trying to think of what
you got any more adjectives in there?
Compare it to, but it's about Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is a for hire, not really an assassin, but he gets hired. He's a contract guy who needs to steal a briefcase, and he doesn't like killing people. And his philosophy, he keeps trying to pass on to his opponents in the show who are trying to kill him. And it's a fun ride. My number 2, the only movie that I went to last year in the theater was Top Gun Maverick. Much like we covered with A Christmas Story Christmas, it is dripping with nostalgia from the beginning of that movie, with the starting title card exactly like the original Top Gun, and the music, and at the end where they bring in the F-14 Tomcat, and he's got to fly that. I just absolutely loved it. Jennifer Connelly is on my laminated list. So anything she's in, I'm always on board
she's on
for.
Your laminated list.
She's on the laminated list for sure.
Really?
So, yeah, she's a classic beauty, is what she is.
Classic beauty. All right.
So I really enjoyed it because of the nostalgia, and Pete, like you say, because of the ripoff of Star Wars. Kind of in the mindset I was in was a bonus. A little more nostalgia pumped into it. So I like that one. And my number one for the year was the movie Prey, which is a prequel to the original, or the next in line, but it was earlier in the pantheon of the Predator movies. So it took place like 300 years before the first Predator movie. And the Predator comes to Earth and encounters an indigenous tribe here in America. It is, as far as the Native American stuff, it's completely all out of whack. Doesn't make any sense if you're a historian, as far as geography and all of that stuff. But I love the Predator movies, and I really enjoyed that movie. And our hero in this one is a female, and she is phenomenal. And I would recommend that one. That's on, I think it's still on Hulu, and it's a good one. So that's my number one.
Put a bow on it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just
another season done here at PCY.
Just one last thing. I wanted to give a shout out to one of our new listeners, kind of a unique fellow. He goes by the name Edward. I call him Special Eddie. And I just want to throw out a hi to you, and thanks for listening.
Well done.
Thank you, Pete.
Okay.
Well, and that'll wrap up our second season, right, fellas?
Yeah.
That wraps up the entire season. What are you guys going to do on your vacation between seasons?
Watch things for the next season.
Exactly. Watch things. Get ready for what's coming up in February. We are going to be
I've already been listening to my choice for February.
Yeah. We're going to be covering the year 2000 in February.
Pete, when we do that one, can you find the audio of Conan O'Brien?
I was just, did you hear me? I was just starting that.
Plug that into the beginning of that episode.
2000.
Yeah. Get that in there.
I think that'll need to be necessary.
People, grocery store clerks will be asking if you want paper, plastic, or fur. I remember that Andy Richter one. It was perfect. Anyway, all right. We are going to close the yearbook now. And we're going to bring on who are we going to bring on now?
Preacher Row. Let's go for Preacher Row.
Are they signed with? Yes. I love it. Are we signed for another year with them?
We got to check the contract, but yeah, we might need to re-up them.
They're going to ask.
I just hope people will continue to listen to us in another season here.
Please do. Please come along for the ride.
We're having fun.
That's
All that
true.
matters is we're having fun. That's right.
That's right.
All right, then.
If they listen, that'd be great. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
February.
to fear. No one's here to comfort me. Sorry for what I have done. Sorry that your song is gone. 7 steps and it will be my last. And start to me on my path. I turn and I look to you. I'm scared but there's nothing I can do.